Hi, I'm Colleen Howard. I am the host of the podcast series Cake and Courage. And today we are totally unplanned, unfiltered. You are getting the raw meat. The topic we have to speak about today is literally been on my heart, so heavy. I tried to write up a script and I kept tearing it up and it just wasn't good enough and it felt too scripted. So we're just gonna wing it. Again, I ask for grace as I am incredibly new to the podcasting world and sharing my thoughts and feelings and vulnerability onto the internet for everyone to see. But today's topic is, of course, about cake and courage, but in a nonprofit way of something that is hitting the news, and I am seeing more and more about it every day, and that is CASA and the fact that it is no longer getting government funding. So we're going to dive into that. I do have my laptop here that I am going to be referring to from notes. I want to read things directly from news sites and websites and talk about courage. I also have cake here that we're about to dive into, and you know it's good when my Bible is open. So again, unfiltered, not planned. Bear with me here, but I think what I have to share is going to impact your life one way or the other, or it's not, or it's going to impact somebody that you know and you love, that you can share this message with them. So let's dive into the cake because I'm really excited about this cake and I am pulling up my notes. This cake is from a company called Lily's Bakery and Catering. This is a Memphis bakery. Look at how good that cake looks. They've got a little handmade sticker. What I like is they also gave you the cutest marketed bag with this thank you note. They are rushing the Google 5-star reviews. I got 2 flavors. And just in the way that I am, I already gave away the other flavor I got. So I was not able to try the strawberry, but I have the lemon. I think this is lemon. I'm pretty sure it's lemon. Lemon here to try, and it was giving me the wedding cake vibes, and I'm hungry, and I'm really excited for this topic and for this cake. So I'm gonna go pretty big bite. Yep, this is probably the best cake I've had. And I want to say in Memphis because I've had one other bakery and it was really good. I still have a lot of Memphis bakeries to try. This is dangerous because it is the closest bakery to my house. They do beautiful custom cakes. The staff was incredibly friendly. They make lattes, which is also dangerous to be so close to my house. And their custom cakes were fabulous. And then they had a lot of flavors that were sold by the slice. And you see how big that slice is. So this is dangerous. This is fabulous. Okay. This just scratched my itch for cake. It's also, I got it yesterday. So the fact that it tastes this fresh, I don't know when she actually baked it, but it's amazing. Yep. Okay, one more. And we're going to get into today's kind of heavy topic. Heavenly. Okay. We're going to put a little on that and open the lid about today's topic. Courage. What does courage mean? What does that look like? What does it mean to authentically live a courageous life? That's not doing the huge heroic things every single day, but looking deep, looking within your life, thinking, what can I do better? What can I change? What is my purpose? What is something that's bigger than me? What does the scripture say? And then how do I take that and how do I put it into my everyday life? That is my heart of this podcast. It's not just to interview people that can inspire us, but it's really for us to look within and say, okay, what can courage look like in my day today? Now, 2 days ago, I was scrolling Instagram and I kept seeing these news articles pop up about CASA. CASA is an organization that I know of through my parents, and also somebody that I went to church with was a volunteer of CASA. And she spoke so highly of it and just really incredible things that she was able to do and be a part of because of this organization. But I knew what the Instagram reels were talking about. What they were bringing up was that CASA recently lost federal funding, and you, listening to whoever it was on their Instagram, should email your representative to fight for funding for this organization. Now, yes, I totally believe emailing your representatives is a great thing to do. I think it's a lazy thing to do. And let's get into it. Let me start from the beginning. You can literally Google CASA funding, but I want to start with what is CASA. So we're going to go straight to the Shelby County, which is the county that I live in. You can go to Savannah, wherever, whatever. And let's start with what CASA is. CASA's role in court. Well, let me start. Again, I was not prepared for this. Wanted to have my hair curled, wanted a lot of different things, but I'm so passionate about this. I just wanted to get on and get it recorded. So CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. CASA. Community volunteers just like you who stand up for kids. So in my own words, CASA needs volunteers who are willing to advocate for children in the foster care community. So these are kids who are either in the system for a day or a decade, and they have volunteers that partner with those kids and are an unbiased support system. Unbiased support system, which is huge. Someone has to be for the child. Why not you? Is on their Instagram page for the Shelby County. But let me just get the definition for what is CASA. CASA is a volunteer-based organization that advocates for children in the court system who have experienced abuse or neglect. These volunteers work with children in foster care, building relationships and advocating for their best interest. CASA volunteers are trained individuals who are appointed by a judge to advocate for the best interests of children in the court system. They work to ensure that children have a safe and sustainable, stable environment, often advocating for the children's placement, visitation, and other needs. Building relationship. CASA gets to know the child and the people involved in their care, including their foster parents, biological family, or other professionals. Reporting to the court. They regularly report to the judge about the child's situation, providing information that helps the judge make an informed decision. Not an attorney or social worker, CASA volunteers are not attorneys or social workers, but they provide a crucial voice for the child, helping to ensure their needs are met. No legal experience required. Anyone can become a CASA volunteer, regardless of their background or experience, as long as they meet certain qualifications. Nationwide network. CASA programs are available in all 50 states, with many local programs serving specific counties. All of that straight out in Google. Yes, it is absolutely devastating that this wonderful organization that fights for advocacy of children lost $1.7 million of federal funding. It sucks. It is so sad. But as somebody who is for smaller government and bigger communities and state rights, this is where I am saying we are called to support the orphans and the children in our community. And now is the time for us to step up and to help out our local community and partnering with CASA. If you've never heard of it before, If you literally have heard about it so many times and you've thought about volunteering, no matter what position you're in, now is the time for us to stand up. Especially my community, the almost 30-year-olds, or now we're 30-year-olds with 1 or 2 income families. Maybe we have a heart to foster or adopt. We're not there yet, but we don't know how else to volunteer and to help those kids in our communities. CASA is it. CASA is it. So let me read a few more news things. So what I am saying, what I'm asking you is to join me, and within the extremely close timeline of 24 hours or the next 2 to 4 days, is that we go and we make either a phone call or we step foot into our CASA office and we ask them, what do you need? How can I help? Where do I start my application? Let me say that again. Now is our time as a community to start caring for the children that have no one else to speak up for them. There's no better time to be motivated than when there are news stories across the nation and local stories about how tragic this funding cut is. Now is our time to step up. Within the next 24 hours or 2 to 4 days, please join me in finding out how to get involved. It takes so much courage for us to recognize that it's not about us. It's not about our career. Life is so much bigger than just what we see in front of us. This is our time to be courageous and to say, okay, I'm tired of being blind to the hurt and to the kids that have nobody. It's my time to step up. It's my time to care enough. It's my time to say, I've had enough. Let me go be used. Let me impact someone else's life. Let me care a little bit deeper. Let me change someone's life for the better. All you have to do, Google CASA volunteer in whatever town you're in. Understand what they need. Here we go. CASA volunteer is screened, trained, qualified community volunteer appointed by the judges advocating for the best interests of children who have been abused or neglected. The primary responsibilities of a CASA volunteer are, you're going to be so shocked. This is not so much time, energy, money. You gather information, review documents and records, and interview the children and family members and professionals in their life. Document findings. Provide written report as court hearings, appear in court, advocate for the children's best interests, and provide testimony when necessary. To me, that sounds scary. To me, that makes me say, you know what? I'm uncomfortable. Who am I to stand in front of a judge or a court and advocate for a kid? This is where I'm saying we have to have courage. If it's not us, if we're too overtaken with fear, that we just say, oh, that sounds too much, let me move on. That's possibly kids that don't have anyone speaking up for them. This is why I'm asking you to join me in having courage that overcomes fear of doing something that sounds scary. That sounds scary to me. That sounds so scary to me. But I'm okay with doing that, knowing that this is an amazing organization and they need our help more now than ever before. Explain what's going on. Help the child understand the court proceedings. Seek corporate solutions. Seek solutions among individuals and organizations involved in the child's life. Recommend services. Ensure that the child and their family are receiving appropriate services and advocate for those that are not immediately available. Bring concerns about the child's health, education, mental health, etc. to the appropriate professionals. Monitor case plans and court orders. Check to see that plans are being followed and mandated. Review hearings that are being held. Keep the court informed, update the court on developments with the agencies and family members, ensure that appropriate motions are filled on behalf of the child so that the court knows about any changes in the child's situation. The CASA program is part of the court, but works independently. CASA works closely with the Department of Child Services, foster families, therapists, attorneys, social workers, schools, and other professionals involved in the child's case. CASA volunteers work under the direct supervision of a CASA executive director and volunteer coordinator to further the child's welfare and to expedite the case through the system. That means we're not going to be alone. As a future CASA volunteer, you're going to work with the volunteer coordinator and the CASA executive director to make sure that everything is good to go. CASA's role in court is powerful and significantly improves how justice is administered in dependency and neglect cases. Juvenile court uses the report and respect the child's sense of time, avoids and makes timely decisions regarding the best interest of the child. CASA's role in the court is powerful and significantly improves how justice is administered in dependency and neglect cases. This is incredibly important because what it sounds like, what I understand it, is that a CASA volunteer just spends a few hours a week touching base with the child, with the teachers, with the foster family, with the family members, with the caseworker to make sure that everyone is all on the same page with what's best for the kid. And then you're able to speak for and support that child in court to make sure that the judge fully understands the picture. Then you also get to sit by the child who is in court, which I can't imagine going to a court as a child, and they get to have you as the non-biased person. They're not going home with you. You're not their teacher. You're literally just there because you want to be there, because you love the kid and you want to make sure that they get the best outcome possible. And you get to be the advocate for that. You get to be the person who speaks up for them when the child can't do that for themselves. The child can ask for what's best for them. You and the kid can talk and you can understand the full situation and present that in an adult way to the court that the kid can't do on their own. I'm so fired up about this. I am going to have my friend Trish, who has been and is a CASA volunteer. She's got an incredible set of 3 kids that she has been the advocate for, and they have all of their stuff coming. Their court case is up in June, and she's going to speak to us in a few weeks about what it looks like to be a volunteer and why she is an absolute advocate for everybody being a CASA volunteer and how it's impacted her life and the way that she sees that it is so important in these children's lives. In James 1, verse 27, it says, real, true religion from God, the Father's perspective, is about caring for the orphans and the widows who suffer needlessly and resisting the evil influence of the world. If we are believers, we are called to care for the orphans and the widows who suffer needlessly. And there is not a better organization that I could think of that we can say enough is enough. Yes, it is horrible that they lost their funding from the government, but you know what? This is perfect timing because I'm called. And this is where I'm putting the flag in the ground and I'm saying, I've had enough. It's time for me to step in and do whatever I can to support the orphans in my community. You might be thinking, okay, I can't do that. That seems like too much. There is something you can do. Yes, send an email to your representative asking for more funding. You can follow them on Instagram or Facebook or their social media. Get on their email chain. Find out what events they have. How can you volunteer at those events? How can you donate? If you don't have time, maybe money. How can you donate? How can you help them fundraise to replace the funding that is being cut? What can you do to meet a need in their office, whether that's getting supplies like toilet paper, paper towels, new markers or pens? And if there is nothing you can do, the least that you could do is pick up a cake from the local bakery or a local grocery store and take the cake to your CASA office and say, hey, I know things are rough and uncertain, but I just want to say thank you. Take them a thank you cake. There is no better time than right now for us to get involved in CASA. I'm going tomorrow. I've already left a voicemail. I've got the address for my local CASA office, and I will be getting an application. And I am asking you to pray about it, to look up your local CASA office, to ask God, is this something that you are calling me to? Is this something you're calling me to now or at a different season? Is this something you're calling me to invite other people to do with me? Not just fill out an application for myself, but bring friends in for us to do it together. Or do you feel the Lord's calling you to something bigger, like the fostering or even adoption? Maybe this is a great first step to get a look at what does that world look like. I know that we are called to be the hands and the feet of Christ. There seems to be no better way to show up for our community and to make an impact on the world by advocating for one kid or one set of siblings. It is absolutely horrible that their funding was cut, but I feel so moved that now is the time for so many of us who are totally stable and capable to say, okay, now is my time. How can I get involved? What can I do? What do you need? Here I am. Use me. Let me love on a kid. Let me be in prayer for a kid. Let me advocate for a kid. And maybe it doesn't change everything, but that's not the point. The point is that there is a need. We're being called. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncertain. Yes, it's out of my comfort zone. But that's the point. And that's where courage comes in. Where we're called to do things with the fear, with the uncertainty, with having to be vulnerable and try new things. That's what courage is. It's not about saying I did this and I had no fear. It's about doing it in spite of the fear. It's about overcoming it together. Overcoming it because it is so important. Thank you so much if you have stayed this long. I am so incredibly thankful for you listening, for you caring with me, and for you also saying, I'm going to be in prayer for what this looks like in my life. And if it is not something that you can do in your season, please be praying for when it is a time in your season that you can support CASA in any way, even if it is taking a cake and saying, here you go, thank you for what you do for our community. Maybe it's sharing it with a friend who it is perfect for their life. They've been saying they want to get involved, they want to foster, but they don't have time or space, or they want to adopt, but they're not ready for that step yet. Be praying for them, or be praying that there is somebody in your life that you can introduce to CASA. And if anything else, be praying for me and for the Memphis CASA organization and for all of the CASA organizations across the nation, that the same funding, the $1.7 million that is cut, let's just believe that the Lord's going to double it with community donations, because I know it's possible. We are called for this. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for trying some cake, Lily's cake, and for having courage to step up and say, this sounds scary, but this is important, and I'm going to do it with the fear and uncertainty. Those kids, if they don't have us, then who's going to do it?